A secret meeting of top party officials hints at political fighting at the highest levels in China. Will Chinese leader Xi Jinping's ambitions be foiled? Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Well, my friends, we are nearing the season finale of everyone's favorite communist soap opera, General Hostility. At stake is the rise or fall of Chinese leader Xi Jinping, and possibly even the Chinese Communist Party itself. So buckle up. It's time for a quick recap. Previously on General Hostility. For more than a decade, China was held in the iron grip of a political faction tied to former Chinese leader Jiang Zemin. But against all odds, a rival rose to the top, Xi Jinping. After a botched coup staged by Jiang's top men, Xi Jinping began a life-or-death power struggle against Jiang and his cronies. In just 10 years, Xi managed to purge 5 million officials under the guise of an anti-corruption campaign. He purged the ones who tried to take him down, but Xi Jinping is no hero. He's a brutal ruler, trying to seize power for life, and he'll have his chance next month. But with unrelenting calamities facing China, will Xi's rivals manage to take him down first? What a show. Xi Jinping wants to stay in power as the head of the Chinese Communist Party. If he's chosen for a third term as chairman, it will essentially mean he's in charge forever, a sort of president for life. Not a dictator, a presitator. And he'll have his chance at the next major meeting of the Communist Party, the 18th Party Congress. These meetings happen every 5 years. They've just announced when the next meeting will be. Next month, on October 16th. This is it. The last chance for Xi's rivals in the Jiang Zemin faction to take him down before he ascends to new levels of dictatorship. And we may already have a good sense of how that meeting is going to go down, thanks to a recent Communist Party beach vacation. I'll tell you more right after this quick commercial break. Welcome back. Being a communist official is tough. What with all the political intrigue, backstabbing, and soul-selling. Remember Hu Jintao, the communist leader Jiang Zemin basically stole all power from? They called him Woodface, for obvious reasons. Here's what he used to look like. That proves to me that humans do indeed have a soul, and they can lose it. So as I said, it's tough being a communist official. That's why every year they have a vacation at the fabulous beach resort of Baidaihe. But instead of relaxing, it's become a major informal meeting with even more political intrigue, backstabbing, and soul-selling. It's tough being a communist official. Beidaiha is where the party's most senior leaders and retired elders make some of their most consequential decisions, especially right before the upcoming party congress. Everything about the gathering is kept secret. The dates it occurs, and even its very existence, are never confirmed by state-run media. Leaders simply disappear for 2 weeks. But sadly, they keep coming back. Because of its secretive nature, Beidaihe always leads to a lot of speculation. Did Xi Jinping survive it? Is he still in a strong position ahead of the party congress? Or did his rivals take him down a peg? China has been beset by a lot of problems. Zero COVID policies have left people on edge. A debt crisis looms on the horizon. And internationally, global support for Taiwan has been growing about as fast as suspicion of the Communist Party. Has this left Xi weakened? Well, there are several things we can look at. State-run media is an excellent source of information if you know what to look for. Obviously not specific facts, they lie all the time. But since Beidaihe, state-run media have continued to prominently promote Xi's political theory, policies, speeches, accomplishments, and paramount position in the party. Like this piece in party mouthpiece Xinhua, about publishing a speech from Xi Jinping calling on the party to completely, accurately, and fully implement Xi's new development concept. Another state-run media, People's Daily, ran a bunch of front-page articles about Xi's achievements. China's premier Li Keqiang gave a major speech to top-level provincial leaders, praising Xi Jinping thought and emphasizing Comrade Xi Jinping at the core of the party. If Xi's position had been weakened ahead of the party congress, we probably wouldn't be seeing this. Another thing to notice is that Xi Jinping is making plans to travel abroad. If Xi were scrambling to cement his position ahead of the party congress, he absolutely would not be leaving the country. Then there's the latest concrete development in Xi's purge of the Jiang Zemin faction. I've told you before about Xiao Jianhua, who looks like he's on his way to a Devo audition. Xiao is also the money launderer for the Jiang Zemin faction. I love how all the characters in General Hostility are so visually distinct. Jiang Zemin looks like a toad, Zhou Yongkang looks like a thwomp, and Hu Jintao looks like a piece of wood. Anyway, Xiao Jianhua disappeared 5 years ago after being abducted by Chinese authorities. Well, he's been sentenced to 13 years in jail and his company has been fined $8 billion. The sentencing happened shortly after the Beidaihe meeting. Now this was actually a lenient punishment. The Shanghai court noted that Xiao's punishment was mitigated due to his commendable actions in having surrendered, admitted guilt, and accepted punishment. That suggests that 1, he probably won't serve his full term, and 2, he probably gave up some valuable dirt on the other members of the Jiang faction. So it seems like Xi is playing a pretty strong hand ahead of the party congress in October. But does that mean Xi is guaranteed another term in power? Well, not necessarily. As I mentioned in recent episodes, China is facing some serious economic problems. You should check out this recent episode about China's real estate crisis. I'll put a link to it below. And cities are still being shut down because of the zero COVID policy. All of that could be fuel for his rivals to take him down. Then there's another possibility. Xi gets his third term. So from the party's perspective, he's in charge for life. But on the ground, the Chinese people decide they've had enough. Let's not forget what happened to Romanian communist dictator Nicolae Ceausescu. He thought things were going fine for him, until one day during a speech, the crowd started shouting at him. He had to flee, and 4 days later, he and his wife were executed. Ultimately, the Chinese Communist Party is headed to collapse. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday and for the rest of history. And Xi Jinping will ultimately be faced with the choice of whether to accept the flow of history or go down with the party. Now, it's not easy making China Uncensored. YouTube frequently demonetizes us, buries episodes, or secretly unsubscribes people. Most of our budget to keep the lights on comes from direct support from viewers like you, on the crowdfunding site on Patreon or our exclusive social media community on Locals. So to thank them, I answer a question. Today's question comes from To Fuking Good. What if Taiwan bans chips exports to China? With all the chip shortages around the world, I think Taiwan can make up for the lost CCP chip revenue elsewhere. Well, that's a fucking good question. These chips, semiconductors, are critical components to all sorts of modern tech, especially ones with military applications. Now, Taiwan is the leading manufacturer of semiconductors, so as you say, that's a powerful thing. Unfortunately, as I mentioned in this recent episode, the U.S. Commerce Department is making it very easy for American companies to sell the Chinese Communist Party everything it needs to take over the world. For instance, while there are restrictions on semiconductors, American companies can freely sell China semiconductor equipment manufacturing tools. Those can be used to make semiconductors, which can then be used for everything from missiles to stealth jets. Sales to China of those manufacturing tools have more than doubled since 2017. So don't worry. Corporate greed and stupidity will always find a way. Thanks for your question and your support. To fucking good. And thank you for watching. If you want to join us in the fight against the Chinese Communist Party, join the China Uncensored 50 Cent Army by contributing on patreon.com/China Uncensored or ChinaUncensored.locals.com. Even $1 an episode can make a huge difference. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.